Rabbi, so let's continue with the sugya of Hilchos Yom Kippurim, Erev Yom Kippur, actually, to be more exact, that's what we started yesterday. Okay, so we daven, Tshuva Tefillah V'Tzedakah Ma'avinus Ro'in Gzeira. So the Rambam, at the end of Perek Beis in Hilchos Tshuva, brings down that because of this, Nogu Kol Yisrael to be Marbe B'Tzedakah U'B'Maisim Tovim, as I state in the Heilige Rambam. Now, the question is, that it's very, very nice. We are talking about now a time after Rosh Hashanah. We are before Yom Kippur. We're during the Aseret Semei Tshuva. It's a highly good time. It's a time of, of seriousness, of accomplishment, of the ability to accomplish the change and to do. Now, that's all very nice. As we mentioned in the beginning, if you remember, the Gemara tells us that the Beinanim, the regular average people, are waiting to have their final din, their final psak by Yom Kippurim. But, however, there were many people, and there are many people, who already had the psak din by Rosh Hashanah. So therefore, the question is, on this Rambam, the question is, what does it help after Rosh Hashanah, when the din has already been done, and already the Gzar din, the Chasima, everything's been done on Rosh Hashanah, it's over. What is the purpose? What is it going to help to do tshuva and ma'asim tovim now and give tzedakah? But it doesn't help us anymore. The guy already had his gzar din. It's done, signed and sealed. Bishloima beinini, with me the kasha. Bishloima beinini, dubi. A beinini guy, so he has to wait till Yom Kippur. So anu chaparayim before Yom Kippur, chaparayim mitzvahs, tshuva, chesed, another mechaveirei, gavaldik. Oh, but if you're a guy that already on Rosh Hashanah got your gzar din and the psak has been signed and sealed, so after Rosh Hashanah, just chill out. Like, what are you doing Tshuva Ma'asim Tovim for? It's too late already, right? That's the kasha that they ask. That's the kasha. And the answer is that for a person that got his Gzar Din, that was already signed and sealed on Rosh Hashanah, that theoretically there should be no reason for him to do anything more because it's already been signed and sealed. He's not waiting for Yom Kippur to do anything. So there is only one hope. And the hope is to transfer the gzeira onto something else. To transfer it from oneself to something else. And that is the minig of kaparis, that we take ourselves, and if chas v'sholem we got a bad gzeira, laleinu lalechem, that we transfer that gzeira onto kaparis. And I just wanted to put that into perspective, because people have this idea that kaparis is like a cute thing to do, it's nice minig, money, chickens, fish, whatever you want to use, minhagim, whatever. It's a real thing. And it's so real that what it does is it transfers the gzeira onto the chicken. And so much so that, how it's meant to be done, right? And how it was done and how it's still done in many places here in Yerushalayim and around the world, is that they mamish shech the chicken b'shas ma'aser. That means you go after you've done kaparas, you go to the sheichet and he shechts it, you do kisei adam, beautiful mitzvah, and boom. Then you mamish feel that instead of chas v'sholem, that person dying, it's going on the chicken. So it's a real minig which comes from real places, and it's very, very important in that case. Now, moving on a little bit with some of the halachas of kaparas, the Ramah brings down in Tov Reish Hey that the minig by us is to take kaparas. A man takes a male chicken, a female, and the minig is to give it to aniyim. Or, right, that's generally what they do here in Eretz Yisrael. In most places, they will shecht it and give it to poor people to have the Suda on Erev Yom Kippur, whatever it may be. Or they're probably doing give the money to the Ani. Now, it's interesting, the Shulchan Aruch says that we should not use a chicken. The Marana Shulchan Aruch says not to use a chicken because it's mig amoraim, it's not nice. The Makor is actually a Tshuva Zarashba. But the minig of Klal Yisrael, the Beis Yosef brings the B'Shem the Tashbeitz, and the Heilige Shlach Kodesh is the minig is taka. We taka dudu on a chicken, and we don't look at it as a bad minig or anything else. Some people do have a minig to do it on money, and obviously everyone should go with their minig. Now, why dafka a chicken? So some want to say the reason why a chicken, not any other animal, is because that was the most common thing that was found in those days. They had chickens running all over the place. It wasn't so expensive. People had them, and maybe they used that which they had available. The Kaf HaChaim, for example, brings down, it's called a gever, and therefore, again, like I said, it replaces a gever to hainu, a human being. Now, it's very important that when you take a chicken, you take a male for a male, and obviously a woman should take a female. a pregnant woman, for example, the Maisa, even though those that hold that she can take 2, she really should be taking 3. And the reason for that is because she takes a male and a female, because who knows what's going on inside, either it's a male or a female, so she has 1 to cover, and she needs a female, obviously, for herself in that case. And that's the Maisa. What the Magen Avraham says is that a pregnant woman should take 3 in that case. Now, it is definitely best to have your own chicken. You can split it if it's too expensive and you mamash can't afford it and it's difficult for you, then you can split it with a few guys. But it's more lechatchila to try and have your own chicken that goes to you. By the way, once you've used it and given it back, if they sell it to somebody else, that's a vada not good. That's why you've got to be careful who you're buying kaporas from to make sure that they put it somewhere else and they get rid of it and it's gone, not that they sell it to the guy down the street. Now, by the way, the Zman, the Heilige Shlah Kodesh, the Mishnah Berurah brings down, the Zman of kaporas, the most lechatchila time for kaporas, is on Erev Yom Kippur, before Alois, but after Slichas. Again, Erev Yom Kippur, before Alois, after Slichas. Okay? That is what the Heilige Shlah Kodesh brings down. The Mishnah Berurah brings it L'Halacha L'Maisa. That's the best time. The meaning of most people is it's a very hard time, especially if they're going to do the Shechita and everything else, is that we makdim it a couple of days beforehand, if we can, and that's what we do. And the Kitzah Shlah says this Mefurish, the Heilige Shlah Kodesh, that a person when he does kaporas, it's not a joke, it's a real thing. This is me meant to be having Misa Chas V'Shalom. And therefore, I am having this chicken instead of me in that case. I'm not going to go now into the halachos of Kisra Adam and Shechita. If you are going, by the way, to a place where they are going to be shechting it, make sure when you stand on the line, right, the Kavachayim brings this, make sure when you stand on the line, don't hold the chicken facing the sheichet, right, because it's called Tzaba L'Chaim, that the chicken is able to see his friends being shechted. As I state in Maisa, a person has to be careful, Racham Avol Kol Maisa, state Mefurish. It's a Mefurish Ashrei. Al Kaponim, that's that. Kisra Adam is a Gavaldiga Mitzvah. Okay, it's an opportunity, but that is what it is. By the way, you cannot use Maisa money for kaporis. You can't use Maisa money. Well, the general rule, by the way, by Maisa money, Shulchan Aruch brings in Yehudeis and Reish Mamei, that you have to be careful not to go along and use something that you have to do, like buying Dalet Minim, for example, with Maisa Gelt. Right? That's the general halacha. Now, that is the halacha of kaporis, and again, as I said, it's a serious minig. It's a minig we take seriously with the realization that really it's us, and instead we're putting it onto a chicken. We're transferring the Gzar Din onto a chicken. Now, they once asked Reb Nosson Tzvi Finkel Zatzal, the Rosh Yeshiva of the Meir Yeshiva, they once asked the Rebbe, the Rosh Yeshiva, what do you think about during Tkiyah Shofar? What is the thought process? What are we meant to be thinking about? B'shas HaTkiyas, it's an unbelievable time. If you learn the Svarim HaKadoshim, for example, you learn the Yesod V'Shosh V'Avoda on Kavonas HaTkiyas in Shayud, if I remember correctly, it's Perek Gimel. It's unbelievable. The Tkiyas, the Kavonas, what's going on over there, Noira. So they asked Reb Nosson Tzvi, the Rosh Yeshiva of the Meir, what do I think about? They were expecting some Kabbalistic, some Yud Kivot, all the whole thing. He said, I've got one thing you should think about. Think about the person next to you. Think of the person who's sitting next to you. Think about somebody else. That's what you're meant to be thinking about B'shas HaTkiyas. The Gemara tells us in Yuma that the Averas between Ben Odom L'Chaverei, you could do as many Yom Kippurs and as many videos as you want. It will not help you. And as I passed in the Rambam Halacha L'Maisa in the beginning of Hilchos Tshuva and Perek Aleph, that a person has to know that Yom Kippur and Slichas and everything we do up until Yom Kippur and after Yom Kippur and the whole year, when we ask the Rabbeinu Shalom for Tshuva and for Kapor and for Slicha, it's wonderful for Ben Adam L'Mokim. It's not going to help you for Ben Adam L'Chaverei, which means if you, throughout the year, not you guys, Chas V'Shalom, but if somebody has ever hurt somebody else, and by the way, look to the people that you're closest to, because unfortunately, that we are, I speak for myself, the people we're closest to are generally the people we hurt the most. Because we're close to them, so we can speak however we want, we can say whatever we want. The people we're close to, those are the people we have to look for first to see, hold on a second, did I hurt them? Did I insult them? Did I embarrass them? Did I speak like horror about them? Whatever it may be. Ben Adam L'Chaverei says the Gemara Mefurish and as I pass in the Rambam will not help you Ben Adam L'Chaverei Yom Kippur. So therefore, it's a chiyuv, it's an obligation for every year to go over to other people, and you don't have to wait till Erev Yom Kippur to do this and run around saying that doesn't work, that's not real. We're talking about a situation where you walk over to your roommate and you say to him before Yom Kippur, or even now, whenever it is, and you say to him, listen, we've been roommates, maybe I said something, maybe I woke you up at night, or asked Tavarim, maybe who knows what I did at the time that we were roommates, or maybe it's your parents, or maybe it's your Rebbeim, or maybe it's your friends, whatever it may be. Ask them for real mechila, because then you'll walk into Yom Kippur a different person, right? That's why my Rosh Hashiva of Scheinberg used to be so, I remember this so often, right? All the shiurim, all the Musar shvuzim before Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, he always mentioned Kol Nidre. And he was always much, but it obviously bothered him. People run into Yom Kippur. People are busy. You want to have the last gulp of water. People are running around, they're busy. I understand that. But make sure you have time for Kol Nidre. Because he used to say, people run and they don't have time for Kol Nidre. Kol Nidre is one of those beautiful tefillahs. I tried to look at it again during Yom Kippur itself, even if I haven't got time to say it, just to look at it again, it's a beautiful tefillah. And if you don't understand the Hebrew, just say the English. It is the most incredible tefillah you'll probably ever say, if you understand, in your whole year. It's being moichel everyone. It's unbelievable. And that is the time that we're moichel so many people for what they did. And if we do that, right? And we know Midah Keneged Midah tells us that just like we are moichel other people, then the Rabbeinu Shalom is moichel us. And just like we want people to be moichel us, if we did something wrong, then we should be moichel them. And yes, there are those people that drive us crazy and get on our nerves, and we just can't stand those people. We have to go and learn to be a little bit above. Go lifnim mishuras hadin. Midah Keneged Midah tells us that if we go lifnim mishuras hadin, then the Rabbeinu Shalom goes lifnim mishuras hadin. And therefore he will go and say, you know what? He didn't have such a good, I'll do it anyway, because I see he does that for everybody else. And that's something that we have to learn for ourselves on Mechila, on Erev Yom Kippur, to be moichel, even those that it's hard to be moichel, to work on ourselves, to be moichel them, to forgive them, because we want to become better people. By the way, Mechila is not necessarily for them, it's also for us. We ultimately become better and higher people when we are moichel those people that we don't want to be moichel, that it's hard to be moichel. And we have to think back and decide what we have to do over here. It's very, very important. Just Rabbi... Tefillah Zakah. What did I say? Kol Nidre. Tefillah Zakah. Thank you, Abagala. Tefillah Zakah. Tefillah Zakah is what I was referring to, is the tefillah right before Kol Nidre. It's a long tefillah. It goes on for a bunch of pages. But again, like I said, if you don't understand it, read the Art Scroll translation. It is an incredible tefillah. Tefillah Zakah. That's what the Rosh Hashiva of Scheinberg used to always say. Tefillah Zakah, Tefillah Zakah, Tefillah Zakah. They run in and they run into Kol Nidre. Save time for Tefillah Zakah. It's a beautiful, beautiful tefillah. You're moichel everyone. You're asking the Rebbeinu Shalom to Kaddish all of your good. It's unbelievable. Let's very quickly, because for today we're trying to finish off the halachos of Yom Kippur so we can get to already Sukkot and Daled Minim and everything that goes together with that. We have Be'ikah. I just want to very quickly speak out. We have Be'etzem, the Chamish Inuim, the 5 afflictions that we have on Yom Kippurim that we have to be careful of. We'll just go through them very, very quickly. Achila v'shtia, that's a davar posher. We cannot eat and we cannot drink in that case. The Ramah says that, by the way, you are allowed to touch food on Yom Kippur, especially again to a parent who has children at home and those children are eating, that the food is not considered to be muktzah. Or bezuk the Ramah, to touch food stum on Yom Kippur, that's also that you're not allowed. If you're feeding a child, then obviously it is okay. Rav Shlomo Zalman discusses the shayla if you're allowed to even speak about food. Yom Kippur, Motzah Yom Kippur, obviously it's okay. You want to discuss, again, we're not discussing a shayla v'achona. You can't be mechin from Yom Kippur to Motzah Yom Kippur, v'adanisht. But however, what you can do is, you're allowed to talk about it in that case. Besamim, by the way, not going to go too much into this detail, but because we're not eating, and because we don't have bracha rishona and bracha achronas, and not even so many ashayotzas, we may be missing the me'ah brachas b'chol yom, right? Shulchan Aruch tells us that David HaMelech was Mesaka, Moshe Rabbeinu also was Mesaka, and the Torah brings down me'ah brachas b'chol yom because 100 people died every single day. So they were Mesaka and me'ah brachas. Now in Yom Kippur you have a problem. Yes, you have another Shmoneh Esrei, but you're missing brachas hamazon, ashayotza, many bracha rishona and achronas for breakfast and lunch and supper. So what do? What many people do is they smell besamim, right? Without going into all of the details, you have to be careful, number one, that it's a real besamim. It's not a fake tabak or whatever it is, and therefore it doesn't really require a smell. So it has to be something that requires an actual bracha. And number two, how many brachas can you make? You can't just smell it every 10 minutes and make a bracha. There has to have been a hefsek. There have to have been a hefsek hadas. Either there was a break, or from night to morning, or you went out the building for a few minutes, came back inside. But it's time to keep on making brachas. You don't want to have to make a bracha levatola on Yom HaKippurim. It's a very, very common thing. To start doing Averis on Yom Kippur itself is like Ki'ilu HaTovel B'Sheretz B'Yadeh, right? You don't want to do that. And therefore, that's why a person has to be careful to not make brachas stam unless he knows he can make a bracha on the Pesamim. So yes, you want to be Yaitza, making me'ah brachas, but not at the expense of a bracha she'ein tzricha. Mishabur brings that down as well over there. Number two, Rechitza. We know that we cannot wash ourselves on Yom HaKippurim. That means you cannot wash out your mouth. Obviously, you can't brush your teeth. That's a double poshet. If you have mucus on your eyes when you wake up, that little bit you can wash away, and you can't even wash your hair, for example, your hair or your beard or anything like that. If you have such a person that's a mamash, a istanis, she'ein kamori, the pasha can't go down, whatever it is, so there is a mokim to be makel slightly and just wash a few places that maybe are dirty or that bother him specifically. In that case, obviously being careful of schita, whether it's anything that's negay, which we're not going into. If a person has a headache, a bad headache, and he knows the only way to heal that headache would be to wash his face or whatever it may be, so the Hovas Nosson brings down that you are allowed to wash your face in that case over there. Let's move on, Rabbi Isai. Using deodorant, by the way, is called sicha. Sicha means anointing, using creams and other things, obviously makeup, but using deodorant should not be done. It's considered to be a tainug. You're applying something to your body, and that cannot be done. And obviously wearing shoes is obviously negev as well, that we all know. By the way, not going into the sugya now, I'll the Bach and other gedolei achronim, wearing Crocs is a big shaila, whether or not it's good or not good, because maybe they never said that leather is the problem, but rather they said something that's comfortable. The only thing that was comfortable in those days was leather, and therefore they said leather shoes. But Akoponim, if you find a new Metzias of something that is comfortable but is not leather, so Enachanami, who said that it's not included? I'm not going into the sheet. The meaning of most people is to be makel, but there is definitely a mokum to be machmeh if you can, and be even barefoot like many of the Gedolim used to do. And Be'ez Hashem Rabbi Yisrael will continue with Hilchos Sukkos.